Good evening, everybody. Unfortunately, the Detroit Lions failed their test. I'm the Doc, John Macaroon, Detroit Lions Lone Wolves podcast. Frustrating loss. That was a grind. We said it was going to be a race to 20. I thought the Lions would win that race, clearly. And my goodness, the defense, first and foremost, credit them for their performance against the Eagles. The conditions were crappy. The offense was crappy for the Detroit Lions. Your head coach is a little bit stubborn. And when you face Vic Fangio and you face a championship caliber team like the Eagles, they're going to sniff out all of your moves. They were one step ahead of you. Dan Campbell put the team in the wrong position. This was a kick the field goals game. This was San Francisco all over again. And as you sit right now, the Detroit Lions are not in the playoffs. The Detroit Lions went into that contest in a manner in which they thought that they could pass the ball more effectively than they could. It was a game in which you targeted Amon-Ra over and over, and Jared Goff and the offensive line were not in sync, and it was a terrible performance offensively. There was one player, clearly, the one highlight is Jamison Williams, and he feels the need to hump the uprights. As a grown man, you need to hump the uprights. It's time to grow up, Jamison Williams. The team is trying to put out the narrative that you're more mature, but there's a clear rule that if you do that, it's a 15-yard penalty, and that costs you points. Dan Campbell cost you points with all those fourth downs. That game was also not because the Eagles defeated you. Partly, it was their defensive line dominating you. We got an answer. The Detroit Lions offensive line is not good enough. The concerns, once Frank Ragnow retired, are valid. Championship defensive lines are going to eat you alive. And what, you think the weather conditions are going to get better in Philadelphia in the coming months? If you have to go out to Seattle, Green Bay, 6-4, and your football team clearly has been exposed in the manner in which a stout defensive line can bat balls down, can get in the lanes, can cause disruption. The strategy was wrong. It should have been, I like the way they started the game by passing, but once the Eagles dialed it up and they brought their pressure, they brought their stunts, they brought their ability to limit Jared Goff and get after him, it was over. Goff was not championship level. Dan Campbell was not championship level. The only player on offense that basically you could say was championship level throughout and got better was Jahmyr Gibbs. That should have been a Jahmyr Gibbs game in a variety of ways. I thought this game you needed to, just because you spread the ball out, doesn't mean you do that every single game. Sometimes you got to ride the hot hand. And Dan Campbell made the same mistakes that he made against San Francisco. He made again. He didn't learn. His opinion was, we need as many possessions as humanly possible. And the Eagles were like, sure, go for it on fourth down. Try fakes. Do whatever you got to do. They stopped all of it. They literally stopped all of it. Let's talk about it. The Detroit Lions lose to the Eagles 16-9. And then to boot, which makes it a complete Lions loss, the refs bone you at the end. That puts the cherry on top of a bad performance. Cheers to the refs. You had the bonus right when I mean, doesn't the league like competition? Doesn't the league like a nice finish? You got Chris Collinsworth screaming into the microphone. That's a bad call. That's a bad call. Absolutely disgusting. It's a tough loss because you now know, realistically, listen, the fanboys can't even sell it. There's no fanboy good enough to sell me that's a Super Bowl team. The Detroit Lions have holes. And the only thing I didn't want to see, the only player I didn't want to see have a good game was Jalen Phillips. And then that play where he gets through Sewell and Ratledge is going to be seared in my brain. He just slides right through. That was the only player I didn't want to see make anything. I just want him to have a bad game and leave the game. But nope, he's getting there right away in the first quarter, sacking your quarterback. Football guys were like, why would you need Jalen Phillips? He's the only guy that's going to pressure the quarterback. It was tough. First and foremost, why did the Lions lose this game in your mind? Why did the Lions lose this game? Clearly, the offensive line and Jared Goff were not good enough today. How much blame does Jared Goff deserve? How much blame does the offensive line deserve? How much blame does Dan Campbell deserve? It was pretty clear in that first half. Goff in the gloves for this one game. Just take them off. Just take off the gloves and get a feel for the football. My quarterback wears gloves. Be tough. John Harmon, welcome, gets in. What did you expect from Detroit? Trash. I expected at least a championship quality performance in all three phases. Maybe not win the game. I knew it'd be a race to 20. Grind it out and win the battle. The Eagles were part of the reason you struggled, but the Lions kicked themselves in the foot quite a bit. They did a lot of things right, but the Lions were partly to blame for this one. The Lions should have took some points. 0 for 5 on fourth down. Oh, look, Dan's going for it again. It's the Eagles. Where's the respect? You are so brazen that you think you're going to execute on Vic Fangio? Take the points. And Jameson Williams, stop humping the uprights. Stop acting like that. You're a grown man. That's not even a fun celebration. That's a singular uniform celebration. You run into the uprights and hug the uprights. You cost your team a point. It's silly. I don't care if you think it's a silly rule. Everybody knows it. It's been like almost a decade. You can't do that. Stop. It's immature. And your teammates want to dance with you. He's going to get fined. Branch is going to get fined again. He took his obligatory 1 penalty a game. Brian Branch cannot avoid hitting people in the helmet. Par for the course. More money fine from him. There'll be 2 fines next week for the Lions. Let me give a shout out to everybody here, the early 300 people. Thank you guys. I don't even know how long, but I'm hot. I didn't want to come on tonight. I was with my nephew, and he was melting down, guys. My nephew was melting down. I was typing. I'm like, nephew, I'm like, bro, you've only been, you're about 15, 16 years old. You've only been seeing this for 5 years. Add 20 years to me, and your grandpa add 40 years. I said, welcome to the pain. This is what it's like when you follow the Lions. He's like, I'm getting a new team. I love that kid so much. I'm like, no. I'm like, are you going to be Eagles fan? I'm like, well, you should be Eagles fan then. I said, no, stick with it. Man, he was mad. He was doing the same thing you all were doing. What are you doing, Dan Campbell? Each time they went for it on fourth down and failed. I mean, after the third time, you didn't think it was time to switch it up? That's wrong. Failure to adapt means failure. Shout out to Kennedith. Here's Johnny. Demetrius McNeil. Justin May, the rapper. John Harmon. Number 1 stun on Mr. Poole. Shout out to all of you. Mr. Poole. Jared Goff came out real quick. Ouch. Number 1 stunner. How many wins do you think is going to be needed for the playoffs? 10? Minimum. Might be 11. This NFC is no joke. Eagles, Rams, Seahawks, Packers, Bears. The Bears stole the mojo. The Bears stole the Lions' mojo. That was a game last year with Ben Johnson. You win 17-16. 100% you win that game with Ben Johnson 17-16. It was a cacophony of failures that cost the Lions. Cacophony, 10-point word. Dan Campbell told reporters after the game, hopefully Sam Laporta returns, but he doesn't know. He's hoping that the bat calms down. Man, that stinks. The definition of insanity is doing the same things over and over and expecting the same results. Brent DeWitt, MCDC doesn't know the definition of insanity. Shaking my head. It's a challenge. It's a challenge that it's a combination of being mad, but also start staring reality in the face that all the concerns that people had are true. The offensive line's not good enough. You just faced a championship medal team. And look, think about it this way. If you say, well, they're going to get Davenport back and you're going to get Reed back and Kirby Joseph, your defense only gave up 16 points. It was your offense that struggled. It was your offense that did not execute on fourth down. So what does that mean? The Super Bowl, Dan Campbell's going to go for it 9 times and be aggressive? Try that in the Super Bowl. Try that in the NFC Championship game. There was no growth of no evolution of thought in his mindset regarding big game decisions on fourth down. Rudimentary, simple, and was not willing to adapt. And look what happened. Vic Fangio won the day. And also credit to Calvin Shepard. Listen, you hold the Eagles down to 16. Their offense is not that elaborate. They've been struggling. So Calvin Shepard did his work. The rest of the Detroit Lions offense, they got to look themselves in the mirror. You're going to beat probably, but if it's Jackson Dart, you can't guarantee that the Giants are going to roll over. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that the Lions, I felt like in this game, if they just adapted a little bit, took the field goals. I know it was tough with the wind. Nothing was guaranteed. It was not easy. The offensive line is a big concern. It's not, I mean, you tell me. I've shared this. I shared with you guys back in training camp. You were hip to this. Every day I came on the Lone Wolves podcast and said, I'm a little bit seeing the offense struggle against this defense. And Dan Campbell took play calling away. But today it was all about the Eagles and the Lions not adapting their thought process when they had a chance to take some points. The conditions were crazy. And it just, to me, it goes from anger to kind of an acceptance level that this team, and I think Brad Holmes knows it. That's why he wasn't aggressive with the young offensive line, didn't push. This team is going to have to struggle now to battle the next couple of weeks. You're going to face the Rams. That's probably a loss. 5 losses. Cowboys could be a loss. Packers, Bears, 5, 6. That's 7 losses. Now you're looking at 10-7. This is going to be tight every week. The Steelers is no guarantee. Guys, there's a serious chance the Lions miss the playoffs. It could happen, even at 9-8, 10-7. What's your guys' thought? Why did the Lions lose this game? It just felt like once the first couple of fourth down, and the ones that really bothered me the most were the early ones in the second half. I mean, Amon-Ra, $30 million. You're paid to catch those. That third down, first possession of the second half, then that throw to J-Mo was awful from Goff. And then you turn it over again at the red zone. What a series. Gibbs, 34-yarder. You get down close, and Goff is pressured on fourth down, and you got no chance, no points. Those two kind of started to deflate me and made me feel like, ugh. That was tough. That was super tough. That was tough. Why did the Lions lose this game in your mind? It's just tough. You sit here and you cover the team and you realize, man, that was a litmus test game. You scored 9 points. You weren't able to outthink Vic Fangio. John Morton knows a lot about Vic Fangio. They've done a lot of competition against each other. Kendith or Keendith. Let me know how to say it so I say it properly. Holmes owns a bit of these season failures too. No trades to fill giant holes because he is like Gollum with his draft picks. My precious Brad on his NFL draft picks. Yeah, no doubt about it. Derek gets in. Hate to say it, but tonight made me feel like McVay in 2020. Yeah, Jared Goff was not good today. And it was a complete offensive failure. Complete. The defense did its job. How mad were you at that point? Because a lot of you messaged at Detroit Podcast that you felt like the Lions didn't deserve to win anyway. You were mad, but not livid that Rocky Sin got called. I was still mad. Everyone was like, wow, that's how you want to end this? Don't even give the Lions offense a chance. But really, realistically, Goff would have just capped that off with an interception, or he would have just fumbled the ball. So, Paul, lost because once Jared Goff is rattled, he's useless. Man, and of course you see the one play where just Jalen Hurts is able to move the pocket and run and get those yards. It's tough because Jared Goff needs things to be perfect. He needs things to be in a way, but so do most quarterbacks. But you're absolutely right. The off script stuff today was not there. Goff's throws were atrocious. He was missing guys all over the place. The elements affected Goff more than Hurts. But the Hurts didn't do much either. Paul also thinks loss is because there's no pass rush for 5 years. Not enough of a pass rush. Derek says Laporta was the key to our third downs all year. He was definitely a big loss tonight. Defense played great. And Dan Campbell said he's not certain that Laporta is going to come back this year. He's hoping the back calms down. Tell me, who's this loss on more? Jared Goff, the offensive line, or Dan Campbell? It's so much to really think about. And again, it just bothers me, just a small nugget of attention to detail. This is a Super Bowl. This is a Super Bowl caliber game. Every play matters. Every yard matters. You would feel like that these players would understand that every point matters. And for you to jump into the uprights, it's just ridiculous at the highest level because it's a known rule. So either you didn't know the rule and just ignored it and did it, or you are unable to control what needs to be controlled. 47-yard extra point try missed. Every point was valuable. To me, I'm more frustrated with Dan Campbell. At the highest level of philosophy, he is not moving off of the aggression even when he sees it failing. Like didn't his vibe tell him, like his gut, is he that much of blinded by eternal optimism that he just keeps thinking we're going to get the next one. We're going to get the next one. We're going to get the next one. 0 for 1, 0 for 2, 0 for 3, 0 for 4. You try a fake. Didn't get that either. I mean, maybe this could have been the one time John Morton asserted himself. We could see him in the booth screaming, "Don't go for it." Punt the damn ball. Let your defense, who's giving up no points, let them shine. Dan? Oh, this is cute too. Dan Campbell says that Jared Goff says the wind impacted maybe 1 or 2 throws, but it wasn't much of a factor. So Goff was terrible. Said he wore the gloves because they felt good pregame. Dan Campbell on some of his 4th down decisions. That's who we are. That's who I am. And it bit us today. I mean, I'm reading these from Nolan Bianchi, the great reporter from the Detroit News. Lions coach Dan Campbell on what he told Jamison Williams after his touchdown. Hell of a play. Don't do that again. Dan Campbell is starting to remind me of the parent that just tells the kid and gives him the look like, hey, don't be on your phone at 2 a.m. And the kid's on their phone like till 5 a.m. and they sleep in class and they keep doing it. And the parent says, stop. And the parent's like, okay. And that's all they do. Don't do it again. I'm certain there's maybe a little more to that. But that's unacceptable. Unacceptable. Jamison Williams has to know in a game like that, it's not about you. What is maturity? Is maturity just Jamison Williams going on the Lions podcast, talking to Dan Miller, talking to NFL Network, and everybody says he's mature? Or is it when you're on the field and it's a key game, you don't do that? You tell me. That's not mature during a game to act like that, to take a penalty in the end zone. You can dance. I mean, it really is not that hard. You can celebrate with your teammates all together, run off the field, do it again. Is J-Mo just going to be the guy that flips the football after every first down and does something silly in the end zone? Maturity to me is to not act like that, to not cost your team. It's like 1 step forward with maturity and then 3 steps back. Oh, that's just J-Mo. You guys just accept that because he scores touchdowns. It's unacceptable. Stop it. You're a grown man. You're playing football professionally for money. Stop it. And the picture looks dumb the more you see it. Looks like a child wrapped around a pole. You're a grown man. Have a grown man celebration. That's a weak one. And it got you penalized, got your team penalized, and it cost you points. That's more important. Mike Hard, 313, Dan believes in his players. For sure. And he does yell at them, but he just doesn't do it publicly. But the answer to that question should have been about Jamison Williams. That's completely unacceptable. He hurt the team. He should know better by now. It's a point. O-line was horrible. I've never seen Sewell play that badly. Dan gave away 9 points worth of field goals to go for it on 4th down. That would have won the game. Bam, bam. Why do you feel embarrassed? The Eagles are a great team. The Eagles are a team that you're going to have to play your A game against. That's who we are. Now, see, that's a problem. Like, okay. And here's the thing. You have to evolve as a coach. You have to evolve as a play caller. You have to evolve. That's not, you can't say that's who we are. Yes, you're aggressive, but you can be aggressive against the Giants and the teams. But once you go 0 for 3, let's just say 0 for 2, they don't look good. You're in the weather. You don't sense like in your stomach, I'm not sensing it. That's the problem with being an eternal optimist. That's a problem. Your gut doesn't say, well, this is Vic Fangio. This is one of the great defensive lines in all of football. We got a quarterback that's a stiff, that doesn't move, that every play's got to be crisp and timed and perfect, that we got to do this. Punt the ball, take the field goals. In championship moments, I think that it's fair to say the fan base is giving you enough rope. Fine. First time, second time, third time you didn't get it, still allows you to try it the fourth and fifth time. Adapt. You are not allowed to go 0 for 5 and then say, that's who we are. You're not allowed to do that. That is a mistake. That is brazen. That is stubborn. That hurt the Detroit Lions, especially when the defense is playing well. All right. Edith said it. I figured we'd read it once. Edith, Paul, proud of you. Always enjoy seeing you in your comments. Live by the sword, die by the sword. Well, I'm tired of dying by the sword. I want to play some defense and kick some field goals. It's fine. Against the championship team. Against bum teams, try it. Try it all 10 times. I don't care. Against Vic Fangio, you got to have respect. That is not championship coaching. Simple as that. You brought your regular season coaching to a championship fight. And look what happened. Not good enough. The offensive line was going to struggle against the defensive line. That was the key matchup I believe Vito picked. And we were hoping that Ratledge and Graham Glasgow and Coyote Awosika, I think the hopium got to me. I thought the Lions would hold on and get the W, make the plays late. It didn't happen. It was tough. I don't want to die by the sword, Edith. For once, I want to win. Shout out to my man, Villain. Russell, always good to check in with you. I love Dan Campbell, but I don't think he will. Oh, Russell. I love Dan Campbell, but I don't think we will win with him. He leaves too many points out on the field versus good teams. Did the same thing in the championship game. Russell gets in. Shout out to you, man. Good work. Keep it up. It's going to be a tough week because there's some reality set in. The reality, baby, has set in that this right here is not the future of the NFL. The Detroit Lions maybe are in a tough spot because the alignment of everybody being healthy, everybody executing, and going in with an offensive line that is young is tough. And Jared Goff in big moments can do this. He said the wind didn't affect him too much. So he was pressured. Good defense is pressure. I don't want to face the Eagles. I don't want to face the Eagles anymore. Here's what the official said from Ben Raven from the pool report. The official observed the receiver's arm getting grabbed and restricting him from going up to make the catch. So the ball was in the air. There was a grab at the arm, restricted him, and he called defensive pass interference. From Tony Holzman, who tweets, the Lions went 0 for 5 on fourth down today, tied for the second most fourth down attempts without a conversion since at least 1991. 2022, Dan Campbell went 0 for 6 versus the Patriots in week 5. Oh, my God. A stubbornness unknown to man. Dan Campbell. Man, that's tough. That's a tough thing to recognize and accept and deal with. It's a tough thing to accept. Our studs and duds is now up. You can review Emmett's work. Yeah, good headline. Jared Goff, offensive line sputter. Man, I'm gonna go to you. How much does Jared Goff? Let's start with all three. We'll end with we'll end with Dan Campbell. We'll talk Goff, offensive line, Dan Campbell in this loss. To me, Goff has always been, somebody that we know can play well, can play at a high level. I've always had those doubts that he could win a Super Bowl. It's hard to be perfect. He's done it. He's risen to the occasion quite a bit. But against good teams, and again, I mean, today was a Jared Goff day. Today, Jared Goff needed to elevate his team. Don't you think that Jared Goff today needed to kind of have the MVP performance? So I don't think it's a hot take to say the Lions are, as is, never going to win a Super Bowl as the result of Jared Goff carrying them. He will never carry them. It's not going to be like we have 4 injuries and Jared Goff just throws for 5 touchdowns. He's going to need everything. He's going to need it. So who are you guys to come down on me for saying the Lions need more weapons? Didn't the Lions need more offense? Who are you to say, John, why would they need an offensive lineman? It's hard to trade for one. Why would they need another wide receiver? Why would they need another tight end? Hell, next year I'm going to say they need another running back. Who are you guys to tell me that Jared Goff doesn't need everything to be perfect? He needs things more than perfect. When he goes off, he goes off. So who are you to tell me, no, we're good? It's a little bit arrogant to come at me like that. No, John, I wouldn't trade a first round pick or 2 first round picks for some talent. And I gave you a list. Pick anybody. Hey, you guys, fall in love with those draft picks. Fall in love with them forever and a day. Fall in love with them. Like, there has to be at least some willingness to budge my way to say, okay, Jared Goff needs a lot. Needs an offensive line, needs 2 running backs, 2 tight ends, needs 3 I mean, you have didn't Amon-Ra look healthy? Didn't Jameson Williams look healthy? That in of itself should be enough. Am I wrong? I at least am openly crediting the defense, saying, you know what? I understand where you're getting 5, 6 guys back on defense. Let's look to the offense at the trade deadline. Jared Goff had an awful game. And a lot of it was because the freaking Jordan Davis, a guy I didn't also want to see play well, doing his thing. Man, that was frustrating. Right, Silent. No QB is good. But you know what? You're paying this one $50 million. So the standards are different. I don't care about all the other ones. I care about the one that's under center that's getting paid $50 million. And guess what's going to happen, Silent? Guess what's going to happen? They're going to restructure his deal to get $40 million in cap space, which is going to tie you to him for the next 4 years. Which is almost the worst thing that could happen. Is we are staring in the face, and you can't hide from it. I'm not the only one saying it. The fans are saying it. They're realizing it with each loss to a championship contender. You might have the ultimate tease quarterback. Good enough to win 10 games, 12 games. Good enough for greatest show on turf indoors. But when it comes down mano-a-mano championship level, you need to get your 7th win of the season on the road against an Eagles team whose offense sucks. You play a horrible game. I cannot take 4 more years of this. Nobody can be teased that much. No human being can be teased that much where no offense can be perfect. No offense can be put together that way. You're going to have to go out on the road. You might have to go on the road to the Rams. You're going to see it in the regular season. How much is Jared Goff to blame for this loss? It's deflating. He said the weather didn't affect his tosses. So, I mean, the formula's there. It's not that difficult. Vic Fangio didn't reinvent the wheel. He pressured Jared Goff. What do you know? And again, let me reiterate. There was only one thing I didn't want to see. You knew Jordan Davis, Nolan was going to play fine. You knew their defensive line was going to be great. I just didn't want to see Jalen Phillips in the face of Jared Goff. And what we see early on, they showed the highlight of him splitting Ratledge and Sewell and getting up in the face of Jared Goff, forcing Goff to move up. The hell? Jalen Phillips got into Philadelphia and became even better than he was with Miami. The game against he had the Packers. Fudge. Was Sean McVay right? I think Goff is a good, stable quarterback. But you just know that you're not going to put a ring on it. It's just the way it is. It's the girlfriend that you really, really care about, that you don't want to hurt their feelings, but you're probably never going to give them the ring. It's a 6. You're waiting for the 10. You know the 10 is at your work. It's just the way it is. I think he's a very established quarterback, but I mean, you just can't be perfect. I mean, could you imagine that performance that he just had in the Super Bowl? Again, he had that same similar performance. Man, all anybody's got to do is call up Bill Belichick. Any defensive coordinator is going to call up the Super Bowl where Bill Belichick masterfully shut down Jared Goff. Masterfully shut it down. Pressured him, and the Rams didn't make plays, and it wasn't good enough. Not enough pressure from the defensive line, but it was still good enough. The game plan was great. No real explosive plays, and they did enough. You can't really blame the defense. Only gave up 16 points. They were there. I mean, and again, though, all right, there were things that you saw on film right there live and in person that you don't want to see. I don't want to see Jack Campbell covering a running back. Jalen Hurts wasn't able to hit Saquon. The Rams could hit their running back. The Bills could hit their running back. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see Alex Anzalone in coverage, but he was good against the Eagles' third. But there were some matchups that got put in place that did not favor the Lions, but they made plays. I don't want to see Alex. I don't want to see the guys in coverage, but they tried and they did great. The defense is going to get the star for the week. They played hard. They hustled. They were hitting. They did their job. They didn't let Saquon go off. They did their job. It's all about the offense and Dan Campbell. It's all about the decision making. It's all about the willingness to be so stubborn that you still wouldn't adapt. And if you're going to go for it, felt like you could have came up with better plays. And then you got the other people that are like, in no way do I see the window being closed. The Lions not making the playoffs. They can't win the Super Bowl. The Lions are bad. No willingness to accept reality. or at least open the idea that there's some trouble brewing. There's some concerns with the Detroit Lions. I mean, what other takeaway do you have? How do you go online after this loss? Let's just say you are a positive Pete. You're celebrating your birthday weekend. You're feeling good. After that performance, just in the first 30 minutes after that game that you just watched, that you're going to sit there and tell people, I in no way feel like the Lions can still win a Super Bowl after today. I mean, you could say tomorrow. Technically, it is tomorrow, but at least in the morning. After that game, that's the thought you want to tell people. You're just disingenuous. Or the idea is that you're telling yourself lies to probably protect yourself from the truth. I think it's probably more it's what people do. They get into denial that there's some serious matters going on. Lions are a good team, but they're struggling. They're not in the playoffs as we speak. They are not in the playoffs. And there's no guarantee you're going to beat the Giants. Better than likely chance at Ford Field. But there's no guarantee you're going to beat the Giants. All right, 700 people. Man, the stream grew. That was cool. Take a minute, please, for everybody. If you're on X, hit the like button, or if you're on YouTube watching this, please, simple, hit the like button for me. We just did 40 minutes. Our early reaction, the wave of emotion, little disappointment, little anger, little frustration with Dan Campbell, Jared Goff, and the offensive line. Amon-Ra St. Brown's getting paid $30 million. Not to, that performance was not to his standard, not good enough. Please like the stream, hit the like button for me. And if you have any direct questions, direct comments you want read, hit a super chat for me. Become a member of the stream. I think at least this week, one of our staff writers predicted the Eagles to win. I thought it would be closer, 21-17. I thought the Lions offense would at least do something with Jahmyr Gibbs playing like that. Man, that's tough. Tough times. And again, if there are those in there that say they're still, Jared Goff's going to tell everybody the same PR stuff, still got everything in front of us. No. Yeah, everything is in front of you. There's two teams ahead of you in the standings. The Lions were first in the division when they started the day, and now they're third. And now the Bears got the secret sauce to winning. They've racked off some wins. They got your magic. Do you still, from those listening, do you have any positivity? Do you have any, the Lions are going to rebound? And I do think that it's a deflating loss because I think it starts to even more and more hit people with reality. It's a long season, but you're probably not going to be the number one seed. Mathematically, you're going to play that first weekend, and it might be on the road. Might be in some conditions. What do you guys think about what Full Slate Farm says? Brad Holmes has a lot of blame in this, Doc. Yeah, guys, like the stream. That makes me feel a little bit better. Let's try to get to 100 likes before I get out of here. Probably 15 minutes to a half hour. I got a lot of energy. I feel good. See, it's interesting too for those that were talking about the syndicate. His reactions are just to share his thoughts that Brad Holmes didn't do good enough. I don't take I'm happy to be right. I'm bummed out because you knew the football guys were going to slap it in our face. The only guy that you don't want to see play well was Jalen Phillips. He comes into that defense built in and does the job. Brad Holmes, listen, guys, if you put it out this way, listen, he can't come out and say he didn't want to talk to me on the podcast. First and foremost, Remember, I tried to get him on the podcast. He could have came in and fully shared with the whole community and said, listen, John, we believe in this team. We believe that, it's a young team, that our window is not closed. But I think the truth serum for real is he knows, and the coaching staff know, this is not a Super Bowl team. They know it. You lost your best center. How do you portray yourself as a Super Bowl team? An all-pro center going to Graham Glasgow. And you have two young guards. And you just stripped your offensive coordinator of his job. Which in some way is, again, not great choices by Dan Campbell. Should have went younger and more innovative. What is the issue with Brad Holmes? If he looks at it honestly and says, you know what, we lost this, we lost that, are you really going to give up picks when you can maybe really make the push to be aggressive next year? Listen, I could take the argument either way, but I agree. I feel like the lack of aggression over time, the first time you saw it was in 2023. You could have stamped it with a Super Bowl win. You got Donovan Peoples-Jones at the deadline in 2023. And you felt like you were playing well, you got to the NFC Championship game, and maybe if you upgraded that spot, you're not throwing it to Josh Reynolds in a critical moment. You're throwing it to somebody else. Or somebody else, that like a Chase Young or somebody else, could have stopped what was going on with the 49ers when they made their run. Yeah, right? Corey Patterson, I don't want to hear MCDC saying we need to clean this up. He's been saying that way too often. We're going to clean it up. It's easy. It's not easy to clean up. Interesting comment, Kyle Ramos. Good to talk to you. Welcome, welcome. Hope to see you around more often. What do you mean NFL uses Detroit fans for viewers? They're like, we're going to call bad things so that everyone gets mad in Detroit because we get fired up. I don't celebrate when the Lions don't make a move and then the team that does plays better than you. I just can't. I'm bummed out. Angry, bummed out, disappointed is my feeling. Angry, no. The ranking's different for me. I was angry when I drove home. You're like, they didn't play good. They're not going to be Super Bowl contenders. They're going to be taking the hard road, which means I got to probably travel for the playoffs. We'll see. But also, you're disappointed because that's not a championship caliber performance from the Lions. You basically jabbed the Eagles. Jab. A couple good jabs that rocked them a little bit with Gibbs. Good jab with J-Mo. But then J-Mo took a low shot and you got a warning for a point violation. And then Dan Campbell comes in and makes the fight difficult. Shout out Rahul. Love it. Am I saying it right? Rahul Chamarti. Welcome. Let me drink a sip here. Gatorade or Haterade. All right, here's the cold hard truth segment. Here's the cold hard truth. Real simple. If your offensive line is going to play like that against the number one defensive line in the league, you are never going to win a playoff game. You had another repeat performance of what you did against the Commanders, against the Eagles. When you play stout defensive lines, your quarterback looks like a rookie. The real truth is your offensive line was devastated when Frank Ragnow retired. And you lost your left guard in Christian Mahogany. And you got a rookie in Tate Ratledge learning. Plays well, makes some mistakes. And today, Penei Sewell did not play at the caliber of a right tackle that we're used to. Now, he didn't play awful, but he didn't play great. And to that point, you don't have a quarterback that can carry you to a Super Bowl. He's part of the puzzle. You paid a guy $50 million to be part of a puzzle that can look like that on any given play. Now, here's the reality. The National Football League is full of crappy teams. A lot of them. And you can do that to the Bengals. You can do that and win reps against the Browns, the Bengals, the bum teams of the league. You can score 40 points on. The Commanders, who are looking at ending their season. And everybody's going to get fired in 2 years. Great. Some people in this media sphere and the talking sphere look at the 7 wins and they go, yay, clap for us. Yay, we got 6 wins. Yay. Look at us. Yay, we got 6 wins. Look what we were able to do. I think the smarter people, the people that aren't going on there with some dumb agenda, because I think history tells you that this team has never won a Super Bowl. There's a dumb agenda going around that people think that they can positively will this team to get a ring. It doesn't work like that. You can be from points A to Z, tell people and blow smoke up their ass and tell them why the Lions are going to win a Super Bowl. They look at the 6 wins and say, well, hey, here's what's going on. Here's why they're going to be great. Well, first and foremost, the stamp that you tell people is this team has never won a Super Bowl. Never. So I look at the 4 losses. And I go, is there a common theme that might prevent them from winning a Super Bowl? Yeah, your quarterback is slow and he can go off and not have good games when he's pressured. Who's going to pressure you? Good teams. Who's going to pressure the quarterback? Teams that have a defensive line and a defensive coordinator that are going into the Hall of Fame. Who's going to pressure Jared Goff? Playoff teams. Super Bowl teams. You guys are in line for potentially what this team will do. Will get you and tease you into the Super Bowl, and that game that you just watched will happen in the Super Bowl. What are you guys dreaming? What do you guys think this is La La Land? You're going to go there to the Super Bowl? Listen, the NFL is not a fairy tale. This is freaking Detroit. We've seen it all. The NFL is not a fairy tale. You're not going to go to the Super Bowl your first time, and it's going to be a beautiful game. 47-43 Lions win. What are you guys, crazy? You're going to go there and you're going to lose 16-9. Your first time, again, and I hope I'm wrong, but I'm realistic. The first time the Lions get to the Super Bowl, they're losing. We all got to wear that before we get to the Super Bowl. Win. Your offensive line's not good enough. In those 4 losses, unless it's a huge wake-up call and they turn around and start becoming much better, you're staring up at the Bears and the Packers right now. You're still good enough to win the division. You're still good enough, but let's just look at, you just played the number 1 team in the league. You just played the Eagles. Coming off of the heels of the Eagles, how are you going to sell people that the Lions are Super Bowl contenders? What are you, high? People live in denial. They don't want to admit it. Yeah, you're going to get DJ Reed back, Marcus Davenport, Malcolm Rodriguez. They'll play better defense. I mean, well, the Lions were going to lose 12-9. So, to me, the hope you'd say is, okay, hopefully the Eagles bow out in the first round, but then you got to navigate what, to the Rams or the Seahawks on the road? You just got to hope that you only have 1 or 2 more missteps. Maybe the Rams, maybe 1 more misstep. So in the end, your offensive line is not making your superstar quarterback look like that against teams that are good. When the heat gets hot, the offensive line crumbles. That's what you've seen. Doc, the thing that is also ass is even with all that, if you took the points, you could have won that game. You shot yourself in the foot time and time again. Man, Could you imagine? Lions are up 12-9 in the Super Bowl, fourth quarter. 12-9 in the 12-9 in the Super Bowl. Aiden's got 3 sacks. Al-Quadin Muhammad's got 2 sacks. It's 12-9, 6 minutes left. Ball on the 38-yard line. It'll be a 55-yarder right in the middle of the hash. It's 4th and 1. Dan goes for it. Goff gets sacked, fumbles the ball, and the opponent scores a touchdown. That's who we are. And then the positive people are going to be like, that's who they were. That's how they got to the Super Bowl. That's what they'll tell you. After the loss, there's people making excuses. I mean, come on. I feel bad that their brain is wired that way. How does the offensive line get better? I mean, in 10 weeks, they've had some duds. Jay, war gloves. What do you guys think about the gloves? Listen, man, I believe in vibes. I don't believe in like the whole Jared Goff stinks with gloves on. Listen, history says that he's done okay with them. For this game, after that first half, take them off. JMO's new nickname is Mr. Humpo. I mean, look at that photo. The still is horrible. It's a grown man in his 20s wrapped around an upright. Bring back the humping, man. Come on. It's a grown man wrapped around. Do you need a hug? What was that sad face about? Is he having relationship problems? Cost you a point. So we talked about the offensive line. We talked about Goff. You guys can tell me the fix in the chat. And the next point is Dan Campbell. Is Dan Campbell too stubborn? Dan Campbell believes in going for it on 4th down. He believes, okay, but if you believed on it when it was 3rd and 8, I feel like you should have called some 3-yard gain so he was like a little bit more manageable on 4th down. Your offensive line, I don't know how he didn't feel the vibe that his offensive line. You look at that defensive line of the Eagles. Where's the respect for Jordan Davis? Where's the respect for Phillips? Where's the respect for Nolan? Where's the respect for that amazing defensive line? In what world would you think your offensive line's any better? Okay, 0 for 1 on 4th down. Okay, fine. You try it again. After the 3rd time, after the second, after the time you throw the ball in the end zone and still doesn't work, you still want to do it? 0 for 5. Dan Campbell's been 0 for 6 and been 0 for 5. 0 for 6 back in 2022 against the Patriots and 0 for 5 today. 0 for 5. He just pounding that drum trying to get that first down. Pounding that drum. Stop. Like, after 2 times, okay, have some respect for Vic Fangio. He's better than your offensive coordinator. No, I'm not a slappy. I'm a grown man. When they win, I'm happy. When they lose, I'm sad, angry, disappointed, fatalistic, like everybody else would be. Normal. There are too many slappies. It's not slappy. It's not even a word. It's delusional denial syndrome. They can't handle people saying, hey, you played an Eagles team. Everybody was watching that you wanted to see something. I wanted hope. I wanted a little spark of something that told me they could win a Super Bowl. I wanted a little nugget of hope. Your quarterback hits the wide receiver. He makes a beautiful play, runs in the end zone, and you can't even enjoy it because he's humping the uprights. Why are you doing that? Why? There's no purpose to this. This is a different game. This isn't the Bears that you're trying to embarrass. This isn't the Commanders that you're trying to run off the field. This is your Super Bowl. This is your must-win game. In a must-win game, and then Dan Campbell, I don't know if the tweet was edited. He tells J-Mo, good job, don't do that again. That was a moment that I'll listen to it in full. I've been on the air for an hour. He should have lit into J-Mo publicly. He should have went Bill Parcells. I can't have that. I can't have that on this team. I can't have that. You cost the team a point in a game where every point was a premium. And listen, the people that are slappies, I think they got an agenda. They want to maintain favor. They want people to view them nicely. I could care less. I just spit what's in my head when I think it. And after a loss, after watching that for 3 hours and typing it and being bored out of my mind with their offense and seeing them shoot themselves in the foot and doing the same thing over and over, hoping for a result, I'm not happy. That's me. I am not a slappy. Far from it. Now, you could say what I was airing on the internet was slappy-ish, but that was fun. I was trying to rile up the Eagles. That was just, if you guys know it, I was just trying to talk some junk to the Eagles fans, which I got a couple. They didn't take the bait too much, which is good. Smart fans. A lot of them did after the game was over. I was trying to rile, it was kind of like that, yeah, we can do it kind of thing, calling them overrated, talking junk on the streams. But I knew it was going to be a close game. I said race to 20. I was very concerned about this game. And everything that you didn't want to see came true. But Jay, I appreciate it. I appreciate your compliment. Yeah, you're not going to find me to be a slappy. We have fun with it, before the game, a little bit of hype. But in most of our predictions, my writers picked the Eagles. I picked the Lions. A little bit of hope. But I was wrong in the prediction saying that I thought the teams both would run it so much better and so much more. I thought there would be 7 possessions almost total. There were 7 possessions in the first half. It was like 33 and out, 3 and out, 1 first down, 3 and out. I was like, wow, the defenses came to play. I thought the running games of both teams would kind of take a little shape. Jay, appreciate it. Hopefully to see you more. Hit the comments too. Always appreciate it. And listen, the slappies, I get it. I mean, it's more interesting. You get more, you get to talk to the players more when you're nice. You get the Lions to love you. You get to say hi to everybody. Listen, man, I just tell you what I think. At this very moment, I'm disappointed. I'm down because I got kind of the stamp of approval. This team's not going to win a Super Bowl. And the guy that they traded for was making some plays. I would have loved Jalen Phillips on this team, man. I would have loved it. I would have loved to see Jalen Phillips not attacking Jared Goff. Fucking A. Of all the people, him? How many times is Jordan Davis going to bat the ball down? Fucking A. Melon Smasher. Offense lacks creativity. They scored 9 points in Philly. Gibbs played well. They utilized him well. I feel like you're using David Montgomery, but I feel like he's an afterthought. Absolutely. Jay, I got the winner mentality. Many are happy with good. I want great. Yeah, I want elite. I want elite domination. Yeah, you're right. Full slate. This was always a 10-7 team. I pictured them being an 11-6 team, but 10-7. But they're at risk of maybe not making the playoffs. 360 smooth. 720 Doc in here telling you the same thing. We good, right? We're good. Remember those words? No, we told you they weren't good. I mean, it's not good enough. There's never good enough. You're never good enough until you win the ring. You're never good enough. The slappies will be like, oh, we're Super Bowl caliber. After today. Today was the Super Bowl caliber test. You built up to it. You came off of a performance. It's tough. It's a tough loss. Tough loss. It's a situation in which you realize the class of the NFC is the Eagles, and you got to live up to that. And you took an L. And Dan Campbell, I think, to talk about him for a few minutes, I think there's a flaw in his thinking. And here's what it is. It's not for the detriment of the team. He truly believes that his football team can execute offensively. Why wouldn't you? Goff, Amon-Ra. But after the first couple times, after you started watching it with your eyes, he got into some denial. Bro, your defensive line, your offensive line was not going to win against their, you needed to, if you had a more mobile quarterback, you kind of could move the pocket a little bit. But I feel like that going for it that much as opposed to field goal tries in this game was wrong. I think going into the game with that attitude is wrong. That's who we are. Yeah, points are a premium. I feel like the whole NFL world kind of felt like, you know what? This could be a race to 20. And you had position to kick field goals that are worth 3 points on a couple of occasions. Reek pops in. Lane Johnson left, and still the Lions lost. 9 points. Man, it's tough. Maloney, shout out to you. Maloney, 6380. Our quarterback cannot extend plays. Everything has to be perfect for him. You're absolutely wrong. I'm going to add a word to your statement. Appreciate your statement. And it's not being hyperbolic. Just going to add one simple word to your statement. You'll hear it. Shout out to you. I want to see more comments here and in after streams and stuff. Our quarterback cannot extend plays. Everything has to be perfect for him. Not just perfect. The offensive line's got to block. It's got to be the right play call. And the receiver's got to catch it. The weather's got to be nice. He's got to be feeling good. He's got to be not wearing a glove. He's got to be feeling it. It's got to be perfect for Jared Goff. You know how hard that is? Do you know how hard that is? And the ultimate problem is you play in a league that has so many bad teams, so many average crumb bum teams that he's going to be the ultimate stat patter. Him, not Matthew Stafford. It bothers me. I mean, did anybody hear the Eagles fan that talked on Pardon My Take? Did anybody play that for the Lions? The guy said, listen, I don't respect the Lions offense. And I wrote it today. I don't know if we used the exact quote because the guy was cussing up a storm. But he said, sorry, I just caught into Derek's syndicate's tweets are just like, they're funny. The guy is funny. I don't know how you guys get mad at Derek. He's got Carlton. How are you going to get mad at this guy? I mean, how are you going to get mad at Derek? He put Carlton next to Brad Holmes' photo. Oh. It's got to be perfect. Right? Nick P. Well, Goff was supposed to be the bridge quarterback that now stuck around. Man. And here's the problem. You're gonna renegotiate his deal to get more cap space, like $40 million of cap space. You're gonna keep him around potentially for 2026, 2027. It's gonna be the ultimate tease, man. The ultimate tease. God, I don't want to see that. Lion King A. Williams. Goff off platform is a lower tier quarterback. I don't want to see Goff off platform ever. That's my nightmare. That's nightmare for me. I'm going to have a nightmare when I leave here today. Whenever I do, you guys keep growing the stream. There's 800 people in here on a Monday morning at 1:15 a.m. in the morning. You guys are crazy like me. Let's keep talking. maybe another 15 minutes, maybe another 10. Hit your likes, and please try to get me to 100 likes for staying up late. I was not going to do this. I was going to do this tomorrow. I still may come on and talk tomorrow. I don't want to see Goff off platform. Yeah, Jeff Lammy. Dan Campbell told reporters he can't guarantee that Laporta is going to come back. They're hoping the back calms down. They're hoping. Big problem. Major problems. There are major, major problems. So help me feel better for 2 minutes here. Please just take a minute, smash the like button, and make me feel good at 1:15 in the morning. Shout out Booner. You know Booner, friend of the podcast. You have not noticed for the last 3 games, I've tested out a story. It's called The Good, Bad, and Ugly. And I just take this post game and put it on there. It's done tremendously well. It's called The Good, Bad. Tomorrow, it'll be maybe tomorrow, Tuesday. It's called The Good, Bad, and Ugly of the game. And I just take this stream and put it up there. Actually, it's crazy. The stream does well, but the audio version that is showing up on the site as well that we create does really well too. Better than the live stream. You guys still love my voice more than my face. I'm working on making it better. Yeah, so I've done it now the last 3 weeks. Maybe I missed one. There's 800 people in here, Booner. It's pretty nice. And +2 for this one, like I told you. I was watching it at my nephew's. We had a fun time. I drove home, coordinated a couple stories with the fellas, and hopped on. Like what? 12:05. And still news popping in all the time. Sam Laporta, all this good stuff. This is, what are we going to call this, Booner? What should I call this? This is the doc free flowing after a game. Not really a post game. You could call it that. It's just spitting, letting out my frustration about what I just watched for 3 hours. And I had to type. Man, covering a game is tough. I had to type that, analyze the game, why they lost. Trying to catch you guys, Booner. Oh, what were they? Tell me what they were. I'll give a reaction. My comment earlier from Brad Holmes. Let's see. On X, I'll read it. You put it on X? Booner, I said the only thing I didn't want to see this game was I didn't want to see Jalen Phillips have a good game, and by God, he had a good game. I saw the FBI. You called out the FBI. What's your issue with Brad Holmes? Let's see. Let me scroll up. Oh, nice. You'll be listening in a little bit. Probably can go like another 5-10 minutes. You caught the tail end. I didn't see it. Shout out to the Spirit of Detroit podcast. Always see you. Sorry, Booner. These things are flying out. Flying. What did you comment? Post it again. What did you comment about Brad Holmes? I'll definitely see it. I'll be paying more attention. Ha! Let's make fun of Booner for a second. Booner's looking a little scruffy. Must be killing Booner to not be able to talk over you. No, man, we had a spirited debate, and if he doesn't talk over me, he'll never get a word in. It was spirited. He debates perfectly well. I mean, for somebody who misunderstood the whole point of the debate. All right, let's reset. We have talked about on this stream Jared Goff, offensive line, Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes. Was Dan Campbell too stubborn? Is he not? I feel like more and more, the more that people say he should, the less he does. I feel like against the best teams, that strategy of sheer aggression is not going to work. It's not. Now, against most people, if you want to use a card analogy, okay? If you guys play poker, here's the best thing I can explain. I just watched over the weekend, and man, it's beautiful. Poker and life and football all have a way to tie in. Now, against different players, you play different ways in poker. For example, if you're playing up against a 60-year-old grandpa that never calls anything and is a little bit scared and weak, you're going to play a 6-8 suited. And when he throws in his chips, you fold. But when he's at the river and there's a bunch of draws and you can bluff, you bluff the tight nits. Easy breezy. You go, you take their money. You can tell they shake when you put in a big bet. They're not going to put all the chips in. So you can see a flush draw. You can represent a big hand and the tight nits will fold. Now, the nits you can spot them. They play certain hands. They turn them over. They always have good cards. The second they raise, you take advantage of them. Now, I just watched a stream in which Alan Keating, who is crazy to watch on a poker stream, call off $200,000 of real live money with a board of 4, 8, Jack, Queen, Ace. Bottom pair with a 2 kicker. And the guy was betting every street. And for the guy, he lost $300K in the pot because he tried to bluff a crazy wild man. You don't bluff those people. You don't bluff the guy that's going to call you with a 4 high or a pair of 4s with a 2. I was like, how did he? And it's crazy too. If you go watch the Poker Go streams, there are 2 guys at the table. They went to state. Andrew Roble, filthy rich. Alan Keating, filthy rich. And Alan Keating is crazy. Called a board of the low card, the lowest. If you guys play poker, I'm keeping it simple. The lowest card that you could pair, a 4 with 4 overcards. He called $200,000 in real money with a 4 with a 2 kicker. My jaw, I had to keep watching it because you got to tell off the guy or whatever. You don't bet $200,000 against a crazy person who will call you on a board of a pair of 4s. The lowest on the lowest 5 cards on the street. He called it $200K of real money. Dan Campbell is the guy that lost all his money. He's like, I'm going to keep bluffing that guy. I'm going to get him off his hand. The guy's like, the guy will go to the river with the lowest pair and against the tight people. Alan Keating is crazy. If you make top pair against Alan Keating, you're going to make 50 grand. The man doesn't fold. So what Dan does is Dan identifies Alan Keating and's like, I'm going to get him off his hand. I'm going to bet 50K on the river. I'm going to bet $200K on the river. Then the next time Dan's like, I'm going to bet $1 million on a river on a bluff. And then he's shocked that Alan Keating called him with a 4 high, which is the best hand. Like, come on, dude. You can't bluff Alan Keating. You can't go for it on 4th down against Vic Fangio. You just can't do it. Like, Dan never adapted. Dan's just like, I'm going all in. I'm going to shove all my chips in against anybody. Like, no, Dan, no. Alan Keating, you don't bluff. You make trips or better, and you rake in $300K. You don't bluff into the man. The man will call you with 3rd pair, 4th pair, 5th pair, ace high. You stay away from him. He's easy you check raise him. You trap him. That's easy. That's like poker 101. You get third pair, you just walk away. You don't play big hands with Alan Keating. You guys crazy? All right, I found Booner's comment. Booner, at what point? Now, let me tell you guys, always shout out Booner. Check out his Crunch Time program, pre-game, post-game, great analysis, great content, great interviews that he does. Talks Pistons, Wings, Lions. Has great guests, especially on Wednesday at 8:45. Him and Hefe every night, 8 p.m. on the Crunch Time Sports. Give them a like, give them a subscription. You will not be disappointed, I promise. At what point do we look at Brad Holmes not having this interior offensive line ready? Waited years too late to bring in someone behind Frank. Didn't address guard, and now 2 rookies. He failed on the O-line. It's hard to argue that, Booner. It's hard to argue that in any real capacity. Or we have a different discussion, which is they understood the timeline. They got everybody in peace. This year was about setting the table and getting a draft class all set, realizing that, hey, why would you be aggressive at the deadline if you have all these young pieces? So more and more, I said it before you hopped on, Booner, is that I think that if we sat in those rooms and we sat at the highest level of assessment meetings, they didn't believe they were a Super Bowl team this year. They didn't believe it. If you just look, if you just take away your fandom and if you just walked in, remember all the concerns people had before? I'm sure the Lions had the same concerns. We got a young offensive line. We got, we're going to weather this. We're going to try to use Graham Glasgow. We're going to try Tate Ratledge at center. We're going to see what happens. They know they're going to get the way at this point in time, you almost got to come to expect it. Dan Campbell runs such a tight ship. The reason why they care about all these practice squad guys is because they know they're going to beat up their own players in practice. So they did address it, but you can't cook an offensive line in one season. You got Miles Frazier. Unfortunately, he had a situation. I think ideally they did not want Graham Glasgow on this offensive line. I think ideally they wanted a plus plan would have been Tate Ratledge to be ready to play center and just play from get-go. And Miles Frazier to be right and then go with the young crew and see if they develop. I think that might have been the plan. But it didn't happen. So the Lions weren't going to invest and go all in when they don't believe that they're going to win a Super Bowl. And then the players start falling and you just realize, man. But next year could be a little bit better. You add a couple more guys, and Frazier has some experience. Hopefully he'll be in the mix. You get Manu more experience. So this year's tough. This loss to the Eagles is tough because, again, against a good team, and like I said earlier, Booner, I look at the 4 losses. There's some similarities. The offensive line breaks down. Jared Goff's not the best, and Amon-Ra and J-Mo, good, but not great, not sustainable success throughout a game. Man, and again, Dan Campbell. Those decisions are, I think, costly. What do you guys think about what Booner said with this offensive line? Yeah. Booner, it's always next year. It's true. But it's more realistic when you actually think about it logically. If you think about it logically, everything would have had to been perfect for Jared Goff to get it done this year, in my opinion. It can still happen. You catch a heater, the offense gets it in gear, more development from Tate Ratledge. But, man, the secret's out. You blitz through the middle, you pressure, you send some stunts, you get after it, you can expose Graham Glasgow, you can take advantage of the Detroit Lions. And you got to hope that this line stays healthy. Tate Ratledge went down for a little bit. You hope that Penei Sewell is okay. He didn't have his best game today. But, again, Frank Ragnow retiring is the end of an era. You have good offensive weapons. It's just What is different between the Lions and the Eagles? The Eagles' defensive front is crazy sick, and they have the same positions, maybe just 2% better across the board. Cooper DeJean's probably better, and Quinyon Mitchell are better than Rakestraw and Arnold at this point. But I truly believe that Brad will signal his confidence with some trades when he believes it. In my opinion, I could be wrong, but I believe that he signaled, I'm good with what we got. We're going to go with what we have. But I really do believe with another draft class, a little bit of aggression in free agency, development of everybody, next year is a real year. You remember my prediction this year, so I didn't blow smoke up nobody's butt, was I thought that best case scenario was get to the Super Bowl and lose. Was best case scenario for this year. We'll see. Hopefully we're wrong, but it's deflating. I think you're probably deflated as well after a loss. What's your feeling on the loss? Get home safe. Thanks for checking in, Booner. I definitely can't wait to listen tomorrow a little bit to what you guys had to say. I know, right? What happened to Saints' hands? $30 million. You got to bring it in, man. That was a bad drops at the worst time. So with Dan Campbell, I truly believe it starts there. I felt like the thought process was wrong today. The thought process was incorrect. Okay, so our coverage today, maybe 5 more minutes from me. We did a post-game recap. I did just kind of recapping the game. We did studs and duds. In the morning, we'll have the update from Dan Campbell about Sam Laporta. We'll have the grades. We'll have what Dan Campbell said, what Jared Goff said. I believe I have the link to the Eagles media site. Woohoo! Eagles, I'll say this. Eagles fans, maybe not nice. Eagles media is tremendously nice. We've always talked about, you know why it's been nice? Because I've talked a lot of junk to them over the last couple of years. Shout out Steve. Let me give us some shout outs to those in here right now. Alan W, Booner, Buddy Kinkito, user 123. Here's Johnny 313. Kurt, I like your name, how you put it. Yeah, $50 million. You got to throw a good ball, right? $50 million, man. I feel like you got to move. You got to be able to have some legs. Beach Lover, Alan W, Neil B, shout out to you. Reek Money, Derek, still hanging around. Appreciate you. Zolly 305. Are you guys starting to accept that it might even be a team that doesn't get to the playoffs? That's how tough it is. Are you starting to accept that this year might not be the year for the Super Bowl? I think it's better to think like that and then be pleasantly surprised than listen to, people telling you they're still a Super Bowl team. You tell me. I think it's honest to say this is not a Super Bowl team. A Super Bowl team that has an offensive line that struggles, and you want people to believe you and just come out and say that, yeah, I believe the Lions are still going to win and they're good. Dude, they just lost the game 16-9 in a game that you said was must win. So you targeted it, and also too, look at it psychologically. Look how damaging it is. Dan Campbell said when he talked to the team, he said November is going to separate the pretenders from the contenders. So the pretenders have to emerge from the contenders. Now, Steve, to your point, more injuries hit. I was good until Thursday. I thought that Sam Laporta was going to be showing up in this game. Now, information changed. 8 guys didn't play this game. 8 dudes didn't play. That's a little different. And I'll give you the little secret here. Those videos with the text stuff, that's just me cutting up videos, hoping to talk junk to Eagles fans. So if you listen to the shows on Thursday, it was like pro rally lines, like they're going to whoop their ass. And it was like, here's all the hyped up reasons they're going to win. But then I said, oh, shoot, look at all the injuries. Then on Saturday, I came and said, oh, shoot, and I'm a little nervous. Things change. So, but I think I brought fair analysis. I said, here's the reasons why they could win. Now, today was totally different. I did not think, Steve, I did not think that coaching would be an issue. I really didn't. I really thought Dan would adapt. Like I said in the poker analogy, I thought that Dan would see, oh shoot, I'm still betting into a crazy guy. Dan's like, Dan's got ace king, and he's facing a guy with 4-2, and the board is 4 queen 7. Dan's like, oh, that's a good board, good texture. Bets $1,000. Guy calls right away. Dan's like, uh-oh. Next card's a 6. Dan's like, oh, I'm playing a crazy guy, Alan Keaton. He calls everything. I'm going to bet 5,000. The guy calls. Dan's like, uh-oh, got ace king. Dan's like, I got to get this guy off this 4. Dan doesn't have a clue what this guy has. I got ace king. There's a queen high board. There's a 4 on the board. I got to win this pot. I got some money invested. The river card comes. It's like a 9. And he's like, okay, it's a queen high board. Nothing there. Dan's looking at the guy that's crazy. And he's like, I'm going to bet $50,000. Bluffing. Dan's like, 50,000. Alan Keating's looking at it, huffing and puffing. And he calls with a pair of 4s. And everybody that sees that hand turned over is like, what the hell, Dan? Why are you betting that much into this guy? He's crazy. Now, it's totally different if he's betting me and I got a pair of 4s and it's 4, 7, 9, queen, and he bets the first 1,000 and I got a 4-2. I'm looking for a 4-2 or an ace-3 to make a straight or a flush draw. I'm folding. I'm a more reasonable player. You bluff the more reasonable player. You don't bluff Alan Keating. You don't bluff Alan Keating. It's simple. I watched 10,000 streams with him on it. The man will call $200,000 with a pair of 4s with a 2 kicker. What idiot on earth is going to bluff into that guy? It's a perfect analogy, Theo. You have to understand it. It's a perfect, beautiful analogy. Dan Campbell's not adapting to the table. He's not adapting to the players. Dan's like, I'm going for it. I'm pushing all in no matter what. All day, every night. So it's a perfect analogy. Dan is not adapting, and he got burned. His bluff got called over and over and over again. God, Alan, bringing up all the things that piss me off. Thank God we didn't draft Jalen Carter, though, right? Right? And Jordan Davis, too. We needed JMO, the upright humper. Jordan Davis went 1 pick after JMO. 13th in 2022. Bears are in first place. That's why it's all bad. Man. All right. It's been a fun recap. Where do the Lions go from here? You hopefully rebound and you whoop the Giants' ass at home. Quickly rebound, you play the Packers. Best case scenario, you get to, 8-4. I think there's a good chance it's going to happen. Good chance. The hard, honest truth is from this game, things I want to know. What's your reaction to the loss? Please comment. Before I get out of here, smash the like button for me. Hopefully to get to 100 likes by the time the morning hits. Please. It's Monday. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for allowing me to react. Thank you to those that listened. But it's a tough loss. It's a referendum loss. You are not in the realm of the Rams and the Eagles. You're just not. It's not their fault. Young offensive line, quarterback that has a one focus kind of way to get things done. And there are some elite defensive lines that will have avenues to be able to get stuff done. And you also lost your star tight end for a month. So it's a tough time. It's a little bit of a ego, it's a hit to your ego, but they'll pick up the pieces. They'll move on. They'll be resilient. They're not going to lose to the Giants, I don't believe. They will be 7-4. It'll be better. But again, that was it. That was the game. What it tells you in a game like that, it tells you a lot about your team. How did they receive the message? What is the expectation when you see a team that needs to be perfect? You need it to be flawless. Vic Fangio is flawless. He exposed every crack that the Lions had on the offensive line. He exposed it. You think it was happenstance that Jordan Davis put his arms up to block and bat down balls? They saw something. Hands up, bat the balls down. Right in Jared Goff's face. Early on. That was a drive killer early on. And Dan Campbell brought his team in with a singular plan. And the thing that I'm seeing with this team that makes it more of a question is that they're not adapting. Like they went in with their plan. It felt like the plan should have been then to go to Gibbs and Montgomery a lot more and to Amon-Ra a lot less. It just seemed like the flow to Amon-Ra wasn't there. Yeah, he was still getting targeted, still, not connecting. So we'll see how the Lions he is. Derek, we are going to break the NFL record for longest streak without back-to-back losses. The sky isn't falling. If you look at it from the Super Bowl perspective, it's tough. Dan Campbell is an offensive genius. He is. But, different kind of flow. Offensive genius, limited offensive line, limited quarterback. You can only do so much. I thought the crossing routes have been excellent. The touchdown to J-Mo was beautifully called. Also, you can be a genius, but also have a difficult weakness with the sheer willingness to dial down the aggression. I don't know what the issue is with him kicking a field goal for 3 points. I don't know if it short circuits his brain to think that he lost the 4 points. I don't know if he just can't do it, if he feels like that's a weak approach when the approach is to be aggressive. But they had the game at 16-16, Streams. They had the game within reason. They had the game that could have been more competitive. But Dan kept bluffing into a guy that was crazy. I felt like a lot of the play calls were okay. Up until, 3rd and 4th down, I felt like it could have been sequenced better to give yourself a better chance at 4th down. I feel like the 4th down play calling could have been better. I feel like the fake was terrible. That was predictable. I feel like Brent catches it right on the point. We held the champs to 16 points. Not taking points on the road is not good coaching. That's how I view it. I view it as a willingness to be aggressive to a fault and a willingness to die on the sword when it's not working. 0 for 1, you get it. 0 for 2, okay. 0 for 3, 0 for 4, 0 for 5. I'm changing. I'm only going to go 0 for 3. And also, too, it's Vic Fangio. It's the Eagles. Like, I'm not expecting that shit to be successful. Punt and play defense and take some field goals and pray your wide receiver doesn't hump the uprights the next time he scores. Listen, J-Mo, I get it. He doesn't think too much about celebrations, but I think for him to have a breakout season, I get it's an entertainment product, but I think for J-Mo, because he's still working his way up the pole of respectability, get in the end zone, give the football to the official, and go back to the sideline. Get the next one. Like, you're allowed to have 2 touchdowns in the same game. You're allowed to have the same crossing route again. you're allowed to have multiple touchdown games. Right now, I feel like JMO is satiated with a first down so he could spin the ball and a touchdown every game. You know, JMO, you can get 3 touchdowns. You can get 150 yards and 3 touchdowns. Like, you don't have to be satiated by one single good play so you can dance and then go back and not be involved again. I think that's more maturity than just doing a bunch of interviews and saying you're mature. Help the team win. So we'll see how it progresses. I feel like Dan Campbell was too stubborn in regards to that aspect of the game. And if you just look at, a lot of people are going to talk about this and break it down a different way. Yeah, you can look at the 6 wins, but also look at the 4 losses. There's a lot of themes that kind of show up. Execution down the stretch in the red zone is not as good. Offensive line gives up far too many pressures. Jared Goff not as good. Coaching not as solid. Those are common themes in a lot of the losses. And it starts with the offensive line. And Alan W. said it best. We'll end on that. You beat us by pressuring Goff consistently, stopping the run, making Goff throw it 40 times. There you go. Yes, the Lions can beat good teams. The Lions can win games. But, Pat, we'll get you, we'll look at it like this. The teams that you're more likely to face are going to look like the Eagles in the playoffs the higher you get. So that's going to be what the NFC Championship game looks like against the Rams or the Eagles if you get there. So buckle up. Buckle up. It's a tough time. It's a bad loss. The sun will come out tomorrow, but it'll be windy as hell here in Detroit too. But the Lions are going to have to figure some things out. And it's going to start with the offensive line. It's got to start with Jared Goff. It's going to start with coaching philosophy. And in the end, I don't think you got enough. The defense is going to get tremendously better. Maybe that'll help the offense by giving them more possessions. Like I said, their season's not over. It's not done deal. The confidence level of the fan base should be shaken until the Lions go out to LA and beat the Rams. Beat their ass, beat the ass of the Packers. People will start to turn the corner. But right now, it's a hit. The Eagles are the class of the NFC. To be the man, you got to beat the man. You're not the man. And again, Howie Roseman shows you that he found a weakness. He addressed the weakness. You couldn't go to their trap and take over. They took over They took over the NFC. And they're the team to beat. They're the man until someone can knock them off. Hopefully, it's the Detroit Lions. Maybe you could upset them because, again, there's a lot of ways to kind of work this out. I don't want to see the Eagles. I'm not going to puff my chest out with the Eagles anymore. Listen, I got a lot of respect for Howie Roseman, and that's the way you do things. You just get good players, and they execute. And in big games, they play well. Hopefully, maybe a team like the Packers eliminates them in the playoffs with a good offensive game, or the Bears, and then you skirt them and you find a way around them. But in terms of my big analysis is that the Lions have a lot of big holes that would most likely prevent the team from winning the Super Bowl this year. But doesn't mean they can't get there. Doesn't mean they can't get better as a football team with the guys coming back. But you're without Sam Laporta for a month, so now you got to hold on. Because as we speak, as we go to bed tonight, the Lions are not in the playoffs. We'll have coverage in the morning, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock-ish. Jeff Levy, Doc, we need to cut out the caffeine. No, listen. There's 850 people in here. I don't know, probably West Coast, all the good stuff. There's 850 people in here. So the stream steadily grew. So that was cool. And I really do like this. And I am energized when I write and podcast and do all that stuff. I don't really get tired per se. I get going to sleep. Yeah, there's 800 right now. There are 804 people on 2 platforms. There's X and YouTube. Yeah, on X too, at Detroit Podcast. So in the end, yes, I'm still up. I'll be up probably for another 15 minutes. Organize the site, check out everything. Please do me a favor. Here's how you support us. A lot of free ways. Visit si.com/NFL/Lions/on SI, as you see on the scroll there. The hub of the operations at Detroit Podcast. If you're still listening, if you're still in like an Alan W, 360 Smooth, chatting with 720 Smooth, Brent DeWitt, Jeff, streams only, RXJ. I do appreciate all the comments, all the people that agree or disagree. And like I said, we'll have a chat tomorrow throughout the day because you're going to hear it. And remember, ask the Slappies, and they should ask me. The Lions have never won a Super Bowl. History's on my side. What gives them so much confidence that the Lions are just going to turn on the switch, fix that offensive line? Their quarterback is just going to have all the answers when he's pressured. They can't answer it. They can't answer it. They know. They just can't say it because it's a little difficult for them to accept reality. It's tough times. You lick your wounds, you rebound, and you try to get better. The wind will blow tomorrow. They'll figure it out. But I think in the short term, I do think that there's got to be maybe a little bit more of a shift of focus to this offense to Gibbs. Just a little bit less to St. Brown, and maybe a little bit more in intermediate type stuff. The same kind of stuff you're doing with Gibbs, do with St. Brown. I feel like there's maybe been an emphasis on getting him more depth of target for St. Brown. I feel like screens, handoffs, end arounds, get him involved in the flow early, then it kind of extend it out. I feel like the passing game maybe needs to just slow down a little bit, be more consistent, get first downs, get into rhythm, and then you hit Gibbs more and more and more. I feel like this team needs to go with Gibbs. All right. Good question, Steve. What questions do you guys want asked? So for those that are still paying attention, hit the comments when we're done. What's your reaction to this loss? How do you feel about the team? How do you feel about their Super Bowl chances? What is something that you want to see improved that can be improved over time? Are the Lions still Super Bowl caliber? Do you agree or disagree? What questions should we ask Dan Campbell? I'll include that all in the comments as to, and guys, after every live stream, I do try to include the topics that answer them. You know, if you don't want to watch all 2 hours, answer them. And yeah, like I said, I love doing this. The 2 hours flew by. Like, I'm like, whoa, where the hell's going on? But my plan was to go 45 minutes. So I'm always over delivering because I know you guys want to listen. Some people listen on the way home. And I do think that the comments displayed here are in line with how most people react when there's a loss. They don't go on and go, yeah, Jim, at the water cooler, I still think they're going to win the Super Bowl. They're going to be like, what the F did I just watch last night? Dan Campbell. So ask the Slappies, what's their agenda? It's to have hope. What's my agenda? To get pissed off and react and prepare for when the Lions don't meet the goals this year. I feel like I'm 65% right that they're not going to win a Super Bowl right now. I was 45% before the game. So that's all. That's how I view it. I view like, I wanted to see championship level stuff against the Eagles. They showed it. They respected the Lions and they brought their best defensive performance. I think the common sense question is they didn't want Jared on his ass that fast. They wanted him at least to have a chance to survey the field. That defensive line of the Eagles is pretty legit. When they want to be, you saw what that looked like. Whew. That defensive line is sick. Sick. And they added Jalen Phillips. That's pretty sick. Oh, I don't want to see the Eagles anymore. I don't even want to talk about the Eagles anymore. Eagles, good job. You won. Shake their hand. Hopefully they get eliminated and we can just skirt around it. Thanks, everybody. I'm the Doc, John Macaroon. Again, Lions lose to the Eagles 16-9. It's tough. A lot of things happened in that contest that shouldn't have gone that way. I feel like the Lions had a chance to even win this game if the coaching was a little bit better, if the execution was better, if the quarterback and the offense stepped it up. We'll see how they rebound. Thanks to the 800 people that lasted the 2 hours. It's 2:00 in the morning. Hit the like button. That's all I can ask is when we're done, smash that like button. And I think for the time, I think it was a good show. Let me know how I did. I think I brought the energy, sustained content, sustained discussion with you guys. That's all I want to do was to have a chat with the people that want to listen. All right. 2:00 in the morning. I'm out. Let's talk tomorrow, probably after Dan or before Dan. We'll see what happens. I think he'll talk around 3-ish, but I haven't looked officially on the schedule yet for next week. So I'm going to bed soon after I organize everything. Check out the comments. If you still want to talk, I'll be up for just a little bit longer, and we'll lick our wounds, try again tomorrow. But I think start the process of analyzing your true thoughts on what your opinion is on this Super Bowl caliber nature of this team. We'll have more talks about it. Talk soon.